Have you ever felt trapped? Like the walls are closing in and there's no way out? I have. Literally. My name is Alex, and for 10 years my world was a 6 by 9 foot cell. This isn't a story to brag about a dark past, but a story about finding light in the darkest of places. It's about how even when you've hit rock bottom, you can still find a way to climb back up. My journey to prison started like many others, a series of bad choices, fueled by desperation and a lack of direction. I was young, reckless, and thought I was invincible. The day the judge handed down my sentence, my world shattered. The sound of that gavel was the sound of my future disappearing. The heavy clang of the prison gates closing behind me was the most definitive full stop I'd ever experienced. Life as I knew it was over. The first few years were a blur of anger, regret, and sheer survival. Prison is a place designed to break you. It's loud, it's violent, and hope is a currency that's in very short supply. I spent my days going through the motions, my mind replaying every mistake, every wrong turn that led me there. I blamed everyone, the system, my family, my so-called friends, everyone but the person staring back at me in the small, polished metal mirror. The turning point wasn't a single, dramatic event. It was a slow burn. It started in the prison library. I was just looking for a way to kill time, to escape the crushing monotony. I picked up a book, and then another and another. I started reading everything I could get my hands on. Philosophy, history, novels. For the first time in years, my mind was traveling beyond the prison walls. I was learning, growing, and seeing the world and myself in a new light. One day, I came across a simple quote: "The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now." It hit me like a ton of bricks. I couldn't change the past. I couldn't undo the harm I'd caused. But I could decide what to do with now. I decided to plant a tree. So, I started taking educational courses offered within the prison. I earned my high school diploma, something I'd never bothered to finish on the outside. Then, I enrolled in vocational training. I learned carpentry, pouring all my frustration and energy into shaping wood, creating something useful and beautiful out of a raw, imperfect material. It felt symbolic. I was learning to build not just a table or a chair, but a new foundation for my life. I also started attending group therapy sessions. It was tough. Admitting your faults, being vulnerable in a place where weakness is a liability, is one of the hardest things you can do. But hearing other men's stories, sharing my own, I realized I wasn't alone in my struggle. We were all broken in our own ways, and we were all just trying to find a way to piece ourselves back together. It was here I learned about accountability. I finally stopped blaming the world and took a hard look at myself. I owned my mistakes, and in that ownership, I found a strange sense of freedom. The day I was released was surreal. The world felt big and fast. The colors were brighter. The sounds were louder. For 10 years, my life was structured, controlled. Now, I had to make my own choices again, from what to eat for breakfast to what to do with the rest of my life. It was terrifying. The stigma of being an ex-convict is real. Doors slam in your face. People look at you differently. Finding a job, a place to live, it was a constant uphill battle. There were moments I felt like giving up, like the world was telling me I didn't deserve a second chance. The temptation to fall back into old habits, to return to what was familiar, was strong. But then I'd remember the promise I made to myself in that cell. I remembered the feeling of accomplishment when I held my diploma, the pride in a perfectly finished piece of furniture. I remembered the men who shared their vulnerabilities with me. I wasn't just doing this for myself anymore. I was doing it for them, too, to prove that change is possible. I started a small carpentry business out of a garage, using the skills I learned inside. It was slow at first. I took any job I could get, no matter how small. I focused on quality, on reliability, on being the person I said I would be. Slowly, word of mouth spread. My business grew. People started seeing me not as an ex-con, but as a craftsman. Today, my life is unrecognizable from what it was. I have my own workshop. I employ 2 other guys who are also looking for a second chance, and I volunteer my time speaking to at-risk youth. I share my story not to scare them, but to show them that their choices have consequences, but also that their future isn't written in stone. My journey has taught me that redemption isn't about erasing the past. It's about learning from it. It's about taking the broken pieces of your life and building something new, something stronger. The scars are still there, a constant reminder of where I've been, but they no longer define me. They are a part of my story, a testament to the fact that you can fall, you can fail, but you can always get back up. If you're feeling trapped right now, whether by your circumstances, your mistakes, or your own mind, please know this: your story isn't over. Your now is waiting. It's your time to plant a tree. The journey won't be easy, but I promise you, the view from the other side is worth every single step. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If it resonated with you in any way, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Let's continue to share stories of hope and prove that second chances are not just possible, but powerful. Thanks for watching.